I did want to dig a little bit into stablecoins being really one of the first killer apps or killer use cases of cryptocurrency. If we think about Bitcoin, for example, Kawhi will also be a floating price currency. It becomes difficult to pay for things in floating price currencies given the obvious inherent volatility. And so stablecoins have created this great kind of niche. However, we're still pegging it to the traditional dollar system, which is inflating at, 4 or 5% a year conservatively. And the reason we're getting into this crypto space is to avoid the potential yacht apocalypse that we're kind of sleepwalking into. So talk about the difficulties of creating some sort of pegged truly decentralized currency, what you would even peg that to. You kind of alluded to this energy thing. I know people like Arthur Hayes have also created ideas around a Naka dollar that could be, a Bitcoin backed stable dollar. What are some of the inherent difficulties in creating this pegged currency that is decentralized?
Yeah, I mean, it's not possible without utilizing energy. That's the truth.
Mm.
Someone's going to find some derivative or some financial instrument that can arbitrage or take control of the system. I haven't read much into Arthur Hayes' knock a dollar, but even kind of going back to Bitcoin, if he's saying that's the basket of assets, then that might even be itself lending it to the energy market and the hash rate security in Bitcoin, because
Mhm.
Bitcoin is really the largest proxy for that in regards to energy. And you can actually see, so hash rate and security on the network actually follows price in many ways. It's sort of
Mhm.
like, how do we put the control on how to look at Bitcoin? But the fundamental technology in Bitcoin doesn't make any assumptions about its price or its security. It just kind of operates on this created emission schedule that is halving every 4 years. And we kind of just went with it because we're like, great, scarcity, it's good, disinflation, trending down. And at one point, we won't have any sort of volume because there won't be any reason to, because there's zero inflation and nobody's moving their coins. And again, sort of a different kind of sleepwalking, but again, still very not aware of the potential consequences. So how do
Mhm.
we, in a decentralized system, create that stability? Again, I think anything that utilizes off-chain oracles or things that are inherently centralized in nature, like the banking system, like stocks, any sort of bond mechanisms, that is a recipe for disaster as well, because there's centralized counterparty risk that exists off-chain, and bringing that on-chain is immensely difficult. And that also sort of alludes to bridges too, because if you see that same problem with bridges where you're like, I'm hypothecating Ethereum on Solana or some other chain, and then Wormhole gets hacked, well, now all of that Ethereum on Solana just got absolutely nuked. That's the same problem with stablecoins. And so
Mhm.
the only thing I think you can really do is utilize what's actually given on chain. And the only way to do it in a blockchain without, again, hypothecating fiat in a proof of stake system and utilizing social consensus is through energy, and is through utilizing that real hash rate put into the network. And that's defined by mathematics.